Herzlich willkommen, Ladies and Gentlemen. Wir schauen uns heute ganz schnell den Destiny-Stream an. Am 9.9.25 zu Renegades. Ich bin ein bisschen zu spät gekommen, er hat aber gerade erst angefangen, also von daher noch haben wir gar nichts verpasst, außer eine kleine Introduction.
Story and experience. And so today we get to start pulling back the curtain on that.
And I'm going to embrace my inner Scarrow and ask, Robbie, is there a Vidoc?
Yeah, so you all asked for it. You're going to get it. We're about to play a Vidoc. That is our first look at the Lawless Frontier. You're stepping into a world of criminals, shady deals, with an arsenal at your disposal that you'll only be able to find within a black market here that's emerged within Seoul. And so, yeah, let's take our first look at Renegades.
Oh ja. Ja, die Kabale Mars, ganz klar.
Seeing how stunningly Star Wars it felt was electric.
I just jumped into that walker and I just annihilated the encounter.
Ach du Scheiße, AT-AT.
Squeezing that trigger and feeling that blaster just go off. It was like a whole new world opened up for me.
Ja, gut.
There's something really special here that we haven't really done in Destiny before.
That
klar.
ignition, that hiss, that sound.
Für Star Wars-Fans halt schon geil.
Okay.
Also für mich zum Beispiel. Lawless Frontier. Bunt. Oh Gott, sogar das haben sie übernommen. Typisches Star Wars Intro mit dem Schiffen.
In Renegades, Guardians infiltrate a criminal underworld to save a friend whose past has caught up with him.
Oh mein Gott, ist das dein Ernst?
In special collaboration with Lucasfilm,
Er ist einfach Han Solo.
inspiration from Star Wars to craft a one-of-a-kind Destiny story.
Und sogar die Kabale sehen aus wie Sturmtruppen. Das ist ja der Hammer.
Brings the grit, guns, and glory of a space western to Destiny. But Renegades isn't just about power. It's about what you're willing to risk to change the future.
The folks at Lucasfilm were such great collaborators. They understood that in order for this to work, we had to find where the Venn diagram of our two stories meet. Themes of underdogs rising up against something much larger than themselves. Themes of hope. Those little places in that Venn diagram were the ones that really helped us find the story that we want to tell together.
If you look at Star Wars and you look at Destiny, you can kind of see that parallel that exists. So for instance, our Dredgen.
Das ist aber schon krass, Star Wars. Also das ist
And then you've got the Barrett Imperium, and they are very, very Empire-like. They have a huge appetite for expansion.
oh mein Gott.
I think of the Praxic Order. There are Jedi in this release, and they are very focused on order and law and understanding that there is a binary in our universe of good and evil. We get to poke at that a little bit in a way that suits our story and our world, while still feeling very much like the inspiration that we're calling from. Edge of Fate leaves us with a really big pass forward into the future. We know of this prophecy now that tells us that we need to bind the Nine or we face extinction. And Drifter was there on Kepler. He saw all of this.
Not running from this one.
Drifter is convinced that there's a connection between the Nine and the rise.
War schon immer so ein bisschen der, also ja, ein Solo-Typ von Destiny. Die sehen wirklich aus wie Sturmtruppen, das ist nicht zu fassen, wirklich.
The cool thing about this criminal underworld is you and Drifter and your crew, you come in at the bottom. And at the top, there's the Barrett Imperium. You need to work.
Oh mein Gott, sie haben sogar...
Crooked criminal
Nee, nicht dein Ernst, echt.
Earning your power, building up the notoriety, getting the gear that you need to take down that
Ist
powerful
das
Imperium.
geil. Also es ist irgendwie...
There's a weapon that the Barrett Imperium have made, and we need to be the ones.
Ja, das war das ein Kreischer, der quasi der Todesstern sein soll. Oder dem Almighty quasi wieder. Es ist irgendwie schon geil, aber es ist halt irgendwie auch ein Stück weit lächerlich. Aber ja, klar. Da lag da ein Messer auf dem
You're going to choose the job, you're going to choose which renegade abilities you're going to take into those jobs, and then you're going to drop into the action with your team, smash up those objectives, get as many riches and treasures as you can, and then get out or die trying.
Oh lol.
To do that, you're going to
Bei
go
Helldivers,
to
cool.
the Lost Frontier Hollow map. You'll see Mars, Europa, and Venus with swamps that
Haben sich von Helldivers inspirieren lassen und der Dagobah und so, ne? Also für den Modus gerade, dass man dann sich evakuieren muss. Ja, klar, der Schlund. Und Mos Eisley, von Tatooine. Sehr, sehr, sehr viel Referenzen. Also wirklich, die haben sich da so stark.
And you're gonna pick a bounty hunting job for the Fallen to take out some Cabal. And then you either matchmake with people online, you take your crew with you, you can play solo. Every time you drop in, you might be in a different location on the map. Your objectives are gonna be a little different each time, and it also might be a different time of day. So there's a lot of variety and richness within these activities as we want them to be highly replayable.
Okay.
Along the way, we're gonna throw a bunch of curveballs. You might run into a missile tower that's trying to take you out from halfway across the map. And you have to like divert and take it out, and you get some extra credits out of that. Defeat your boss, get to the exfil with whatever time you've got left, call your ship in, all hell drops in on your head from the Cabal. Your ship flies in, you hop aboard, and you've got to exfil.
Over the course of the campaign and deep into the post-game of Renegades, you're going to be unlocking and earning a bunch of different Renegade abilities.
We've got things like airstrikes,
Wow.
Cabal drop pods, vehicles like the Cabal walkers,
Ja, das wäre meins.
interceptors, swoop bikes, turrets,
Turrets? Echt?
9 abilities, 7 upgrades. There's a ton of stuff that you can bring in and just change how things play.
It's like a tech tree of options.
It's like a whole tree of options across support, defensive, and offensive.
Es ist irgendwie schon ganz schön anders, als man
The Lost Frontier isn't
es
just
erwartet von Destiny.
It's about influence. Shady backroom deals,
Whoa.
working for these powerful syndicates and against them
knatte dich.
at different times. And all of this takes place at the heart of the criminal underworld and Tharsis Outpost.
The Vanguard have been preoccupied. They've been off saving the world, and they haven't been looking at Tharsis. It's changed a lot
Also
since the
es
last
hat
time
mich
we were there.
schon
Now this thriving black market, this
irgendwie.
criminal underworld.
Aber ich bin auch skeptischer als vorher. Ich weiß nicht.
Tharsis Junction became Tharsis Outpost. If you have an unsavory job that you need done,
Dieser
you can
Grind
find
ist
a
halt schon
Tharsis
scheiße, den sie
Outpost.
da jetzt gerade
Tharsis
momentan haben.
Outpost feels appropriate for both Star Wars and for us. When we looked at Mos Eisley as inspiration, we knew that we could play in that playground in a really fun way. From the ghost that you'll see floating around to one Elixni with all 4 of his Elixni arms shaking up drinks. We took that inspiration and we found the Destiny spin on it. Criminal syndicates have moved in.
You're working with the
Das war doch gerade die Siva-Rüstung, oder?
building your notoriety with them.
The 3 different syndicates that we created
Ist blöd, oder war das gerade die Siva-Rüstung?
They're kind of like an anarchist biker gang. Unlike other Elixni, they're atheists. They don't worship machines. They follow relics. We've also got the Totality Division, a subsect of the Barrent Imperium. They're run by Scions, and their enforcer Rao is going to be the leader of this group. And we've got Tharsis Reformation. They are a breakaway group from Maya's Vex. They're starting
sind sie ja
to
geil.
think for themselves and figure out what it means to be an individual.
They're starting to do crime. They're wearing clothes.
Crime and wearing clothes are what all individuals
Das ist schon geil. Irgendwie, das ist was, es ist anders. Es ist wirklich anders, als man so von Destiny kennt.
But the heart of the Renegade fantasy is not just surviving the lawless frontier. It's garnering influence and building your power so that you can bend it to your will.
In the end game, we get the best weapons, the best
Ja, schön
armor,
für
the
TNG.
coolest exclusive cosmetics. You're going to need to work with the syndicates to increase your notoriety by completing jobs successfully alone or with a crew, and then doing so you'll unlock our highest risk, highest reward jobs, and at the same time you're going to have the ability to do the special job that'll take you off planet to the dungeon.
To the Dungeon, da ist es. Oh,
And you'll also unlock Invasion.
That's right, Invasion is back. But this doesn't work like Gambit. It's opt-in. The invader has some initiative when invasion begins. This is more strategic.
You scan the battlefield and you're like, okay, is this the right time for me to take the shot? And what's the right tool for me to do it? Do I use an airstrike or a vehicle? Do I use a Cabal Walker?
Na was?
Just watch out for that double.
Was invaden wir hier denn? Weil hier sehe ich ja nur... Ah ne, jetzt sehe ich ja. Okay, ist ein Gambit, ne? Es ist in Gambit. Oder ist das jetzt eine Mission? Habe ich nicht so ganz verstanden gerade. Ob das jetzt Gambit ist quasi, wo die Invasion einfach ein bisschen verändert wird und man mehr Möglichkeit hat, oder ob es neuer Spielmodus ist. Alter, das Laserschwert. Der Hammer. The fuck.
Even in the darkest corners of this world, there's still a glimmer of hope. Guardians will have to find their own version of balance between loyalty and survival, between power and purpose. Because there's more at play than credits and contracts. Forces are on the move, ones that see you not just as a player, but as a piece on the board. To change the future, you'll have to become the one thing they never saw coming.
See?
Start the engines.
What the fuck?
As soon as you can.
Alter, what the fuck? Ja, also es ist... Ich will jetzt spielen, klar, natürlich, aber es ist halt schon krank. Also es ist wirklich...
Sorry, I love Vidocs. I gotta stop looking at chat. Let's get the show on the road. So, pre-orders for the new Renegades Standard Edition start right now. And we actually have some added bonuses. Even if you pre-ordered the, what do we got? Year of Prophecy Edition, we have 2 additional cosmetics that are going live today with the patch. The Starside Introduction Emblem and a new exotic ship, which we call the Renegade Leader. You're going to see it on the screen right now, and I'm going to ask a silly question. What are we looking at?
I mean, I think we're kind of looking at something that looks like
Rewrite TM Lucasfilm Ltd. Ja, das ist klar, das müssen jetzt immer einblenden von dem Schiff.
That's the team had a lot of fun with. So we wanted to build like an iconic ship, Dylan, that kicked off the road to Renegades here over the next few months.
Na gut, aber für das, also es passt schon in Destiny rein und es passt auch irgendwie, ich weiß nicht, es ist halt so anders wie das normale Destiny DLC, was man so kennt. Und das ist eigentlich eine gute Sache, finde ich. Auf der anderen Seite natürlich klar, was selber kreieren wäre schon besser gewesen, aber jetzt haben sie sich da bedient. Warum auch nicht? Die Frage, wie gut wird's wirklich? Ne? Ist es dann nur die Marke Star Wars, die das Ganze trägt, oder und halt auch wirklich dann die Story was und vor allen Dingen die neuen Spielmodi, wie die da jetzt gesagt haben, mit dem Extraction-mäßigen und so weiter. Was?
With Cabal-related enemies. Anyway, so to deal with the Imperium, you're going to take on the role of a renegade. As a Guardian, you're going to smuggle, sabotage, bounty hunt your way to the top of the lawless frontier. And that means you're going to be working with the shady syndicates to build your influence within Tharsis. But ultimately, like, this is for the right reason. You're being the bad guy to do the right thing because you can't really ignore this prophecy of extinction.
Sieht da schon geil aus, ne?
Yeah. So, I mean, you mentioned Drifter. We have a pretty stellar cast here, and there was a new character that we...
Nee, ist einfach eingeflogen. In Carbonit, nee, in Stasis natürlich.
Of your crew, who comes from the Praxis Order, actually. And they've been tasked with tracking down reports of dredging activity across the lawless frontier. And they've also been tasked with keeping an eye on Drifter because he's been seeing and saying some crazy stuff lately. And this is all being done in defiance of the Vanguard. So
typische Han Solo-Move hier. Alter, das geht doch gar nicht. Dass die das gemacht haben, das kann ich eigentlich fast gar nicht glauben, aber es ist schon geil.
We just don't want to spoil too much right now. We're going to have more on the story closer to launch.
All right. So we've got smuggling, sabotaging, bounty hunting, wearing clothes, doing crime.
It's important.
Let's talk about the gameplay.
Yeah, so being an individual means crimes and clothes. We've established.
Waffen sehen halt ziemlich cool aus, ne? Für Star Wars-Fans
one thing to
perfekt.
make sure is clear here, in the campaign that has a bunch of story missions, it's going to introduce you to also the jobs that you'll be taking in addition to those story missions within the Lawless Frontier. So you'll be kind of climbing the ranks of the criminal underworld here because the syndicates are not going to trust you out the gate. You kind of have to garner influence with them before they're going to help you out in dealing with the Imperium. And so then at the conclusion of the campaign, once that Imperium's chokehold is kind of loosened on Tharsis and the Lawless Frontier, you unintentionally kick off a turf war between the three syndicates, because now they're all vying for power because you've kind of toppled the top dog of their power hierarchy.
Yeah. And so let's talk about this. In December,
was ist
the
das denn?
Lawless Frontier is coming. It's not just like a
Target a
concept,
syndicate.
It's an activity.
Yeah, and I know we're showing something on screen right now that is when you go through this daily ritual of dealing with contested territory, you'll be able to target the syndicate you want to kind of take down in that moment. But ultimately, the Lawless Frontier is a new activity where you'll be carrying out a variety of those missions, those smuggle, bounty hunt, sabotaging. I think you kind of can tell what they're going to be all about just with the name of them. And this is you just partnering with and against the syndicates. And so it's fast, it's tactical, and it's going to throw a ton of enemies and a variety of objectives within each of these jobs at your fire team in new locations across Mars, Europa, and Venus. This is all about big,
Mars,
chaotic co-op
Europa
within
und
the Lawless Frontier.
Venus.
And then when you're working with the syndicates, I expect to be paid when I take on a job.
Sure.
What are they going to be giving us?
Every criminal does.
Yeah,
right. You know what I mean? So, one thing to talk about at the top, because Tom and I are really excited the creative lead on Renegades. The Cabal have been dropping pods on your head for 8 years now, something like that. And so with one of our Renegade abilities, we kind of get to turn the table on the Cabal and drop one on them. It also supplies you some ammo and stuff too, some nice convenience there.
Ja, das ist dann wieder so ein Destiny-Hint. Der ist noch nicht von einem Drop-Pod gestorben. Ich kenne keinen, ehrlich gesagt. Also diese Abilities, die sie da ansprechen, die, dass man die Drop-Pods auf die Gegner werfen kann, dass man Airstrikes hat, Luftschläge und so weiter, dass man den Walker holen kann, das ist interessant. Sowas hatten wir noch nicht. Das ist auch gut. Das ist gut.
Wanted to lean into the idea of this fantasy of you working with your crew and the various roles you could play within the Lawless Frontiers of all these different type of jobs that you're going to be doing.
Awesome. And then I have to give a shout out to James Sy. He's frankly one of the biggest Star Wars nerds I've ever met in my life. But he was talking about the blaster and that feel the first time he shot it. Let's talk about him.
Yeah, I love that blaster, and because my personal joke is it's like Forerunner at home. It's kind of like a legendary version of that exotic, and it just feels fucking incredible. Oh, sorry, it feels incredible. Excuse me, for kids at home. So we're gonna have a weapons deep dive close to launch. I know I keep saying that. There's a ton of the Vidoc. There's even more we talk about. But what we can say about blasters right now is they're new, powerful weapons in your arsenal, and they actually draw ammo straight from your reserves, Dylan. And so the mechanic of this is basically heating up the gun and then venting it out. So no reloading technically, but since you have to charge up heat and you have to think about overheating, it's a whole mechanic and has its own special reload associated with it. And so it's going to be all about finding the rhythm of pace and battle between building up heat and venting.
Da lädt man auch nicht wirklich nach, sondern es ist wirklich so wie in einem Star Wars Game, also wie zum Beispiel Battlefront 2, dass die Waffen überhitzen. Sehr interessant.
We've talked about the Lawless Frontier, but one of the components is invasions.
Oh yeah. So you're going to unlock invasion as part of that turf war we've been talking about. And the syndicates are reaching out to you and they're giving you contracts to play Hitman against other Guardian crews. So it's 1 versus 3. You versus a Guardian crew on the Lawless Frontier. And like we said in the Vidoc, invasion is 100% opt-in for both the invaders and the defending fire team crew. But don't worry.
Doch ein neuer Spielmodus. Doch nicht Gambit.
An option that is available to you if you don't want to engage in invasion. Yeah, we wanted to make sure that, because even though some people love that PvE chocolate mixing with that PvP peanut butter, we wanted to make sure that if you didn't want to do that, there's always an option for you to do something else within the Lawless Frontier.
And then if you do opt in, though, there's more rewards or incentive, right?
I mean, yeah, you're like you're basically saying, hey, Fireteam, I'm open to having another Guardian come and wreck shop and mess my day up, right? And so you're taking a higher risk, so therefore there's a chance of higher reward depending on how you handle that, right?
Cool. Yeah, I mean, so that covers gameplay effectively. We do have a dungeon. We showed a little tease, but again, no spoilers. We'll let you discover that on day one. Let's talk about the last thing that players may have seen, or the first thing, honestly. We saw chat blown up. Let's talk about the saber.
Right. So
Ja, lass mal über das Lichtschwert reden.
Right? It's our love letter to the Star Wars lightsaber, and we're calling it the Praxic Blade. Again, we'll be sharing a whole lot more once the launch. I'm really sorry. I feel like a parrot right now just saying the same thing.
Was ein Name.
But what I can say
Praxic
is that
Blade.
the
Nein.
Praxic Blade is going to be highly customizable in both gameplay and visuals.
Oh.
And so there's going to be a ton of parts and components that you'll be chasing and discovering throughout the Lost Frontier.
Wie, kriegen wir jetzt das Schwertbaumodul von Jedi Fallen Order rein, oder was? Das ist ja, die sind wahnsinnig, die sind komplett durchgedreht. Die müssen jetzt richtig abcashen, sonst werden die dicht gemacht, glaube ich. Deswegen machen die jetzt nur noch so Sachen. Abartig.
Awesome. Well, that's it for Renegades. We have 2 more big subjects to go through today. So thanks for running us through that.
Of course.
Our next section is going to be all about quality of life. It's going to be about a lot of the feedback that we've been seeing in the live game since Edge of Fate launched. And then after that, we'll be talking about Ash and Iron with another cast of devs to talk about a bunch of cool stuff. So ultimately, we have quite a lot coming over the next few months. We're going to be talking about a bunch of high-level goals, objectives, some of our philosophy. We do not have a roadmap today, but we will have a roadmap in the next few weeks outlining our road to Renegades, which I've been calling it selfishly. So we'll figure out a fancier name for it at some point, but let's dive in. I think the first thing that I want to talk about here, let me get this up. I mean, ultimately, this feels like we're having a mini community summit on the stream. But let's talk about rewards. Let's talk about the portal. Let's talk about power.
Wie viele Leute gucken eigentlich gerade zu bei denen?
Yeah, so to do a little bit more table setting and framing here.
49.000. Ja, ist jetzt auch nicht so wenig, aber auch nicht so viel. Ne? War schon mal mehr.
And Dylan, we know we need to make some changes, right? And so this is what this whole next section is going to be about. We're going to talk about a ton of stuff. Some of it, a little bit of it is going to come from Ash and Iron, a lot more in Renegades, and then even more in the future. And so coming back to the power climb, we want it to be faster, we want it to have improved rewards, and we really want it to
highlight das will ich erst mal sehen.
aspirational activities when
Da
Renegades.
glaube ich gar nichts.
So that means looking at the Renegades
Das will ich sehen.
campaign and the Renegades jobs in the Lawless Frontier and the activities you do there, and making sure that they both feel like great sources of seasonal power. We know with the Edge of Fate, after you completed the campaign on Kepler, that there's a bunch of cool stuff to do and some rewards to get, but it didn't fit into the seasonal power game, right? It didn't feel like it was a viable path. And so these big chaotic fire team based jobs that we've built and all that variety we're pouring into it is going to be this engine to climb seasonal power. If you're just loving that activity, you're going to be able to spend an enormous amount of time there.
Yeah, and you touched on aspirational content. So when we look at it, you're doing the power climb, but you're looking at the end game, and our raids and dungeons are a part of that.
Yes, they are. So we are making sure here, there's 2 approaches we're taking and a bunch of work that's going to come out of it. So our focus initially here is going to be on the new raid and dungeon content in this conversation. So that is Desert Perpetual, the Epic Raid here in a couple weeks, and then the dungeon releasing with Ash and Iron. And so
Weil den kannst du nur spielen, wenn du 450 bist, um das Maximum an Gear rauszuholen. Sonst kriegst du da Waffen raus, die
but then also we're going to be looking at the power drops that come when you're completing encounters and looking to see if we can adjust those and juice them up a little bit. The other big area, because what we're talking about when we say aspiration is like in-game. You're doing an in-game thing. I should be rewarded for that. So with the launch of the Epic Raid for the Desert Perpetual and Epic Raid and then the dungeon afterwards, we're going to make all drops, the base drops you earn in that content, Tier 3. Yeah.
Das reicht nicht. Das reicht nicht. Alter, wenn du das spielst, musst du eine 5er kriegen. Das ist Bullshit.
Tier 3 is the baseline, but then you can build up to Tier 4 and Tier 5 as you add more challenge, add more difficulty.
Bullshit.
Sorry, I think we hit on it, but I just want to make sure. We talked about
Wenn
improved
das,
rewards, right?
der Grind wird wieder abartig. Und das werden die meisten nicht machen. Das werden die meisten nicht machen von euren Spielern.
Dylan, I know you and I've talked about it a bunch. You know, we
Das ist wieder Bullshit. Ich glaube nicht dran.
Yeah, let's talk about
Es haben jetzt schon viele Spieler, die eigentlich durchgängig immer Destiny gespielt haben, einfach den Grind nicht mehr mitgemacht, weil es einfach scheißegal ist und einfach nur noch nervt. Und wenn ich einen Raid spiele, wenn ich einen Dungeon spiele, dann kriege ich das höchste Gear, was möglich ist. Punkt. Da gibt es für mich eigentlich gar keinen anderen Weg, ehrlich gesagt. Das kann ich nicht nachvollziehen. Sowas geht nicht. In meinem Kopf geht nicht rein. Ich verstehe die Idee dahinter nicht. Du hast doch jetzt wieder Kampagne, dann diese Lawless Job, Sabotage, Bounty Hunting und was war's noch? Keine Ahnung. Vergessen? So unrelevant scheint es wohl zu sein. Keine Ahnung. Auf jeden Fall, das levelt dich hoch. So, dann kommst du da vielleicht mal auf 200. Okay. Und danach musst du wieder anfangen. Auf 250 startest du, glaube ich, jetzt, oder was? Nee, ich weiß nicht. Auf jeden Fall, du fängst ja jetzt bei 200 oder 250 an, irgendwo sowas war's. Und dann musst du ja anfangen jetzt auf 450. Du musst 200 Level, wenn es bei 250 anfängt, weiß ich jetzt nicht genau. Jetzt bin ich ein bisschen ins Blaue reingeraten oder spreche ein bisschen ins Blaue. Auf jeden Fall, sagen wir mal, du musst ungefähr 200 Level machen. Und wenn das nicht schnell genug geht und du kriegst keine 5er Waffen daraus, du kriegst die nicht daraus auf der Levelphase, das haben die in keinem Wort jetzt gerade erwähnt, das geht nicht. Dann spiele ich einen Raid, um eben eine 5er Waffe zu kriegen oder eine 5er Rüstung und dann kriege ich die ja nicht raus. Das kann nicht sein.
Yeah, I mean, let's talk about the effectively weekly reset, curated activities from Bungie. So you have a moment each week of, let's hop into raid night, let's do Grandmasters, things like that.
Yeah, so the thing you're speaking to, Dylan, the thing we talk about a lot is like, yeah, clan night, raid night, right? We got to get that feeling of hey, I log in on Tuesday and there's just like a bunch of stuff to look forward to. And so a few ways we're going to do that is one with a new system that we're calling Vanguard orders that comes out in Renegades. So Vanguard orders are actually this like new objective system where you're going to be, and we should have a mock-up on screen right now. It looks like our monitor isn't showing the exact right thing just for our place in the studio, so I'm just going to assume it's working. And so within these Vanguard orders, you're going to have all these different objectives that you can do, and you don't have to pick these up like bounties, right? These are things that will just be automatically granted to you when you log into the portal. And then what's really cool about these is that they pull some of that like Destiny 1 bounty vibe, where as you complete an order on the left-hand side of the screen of this mock-up here, you will actually you can roll on higher tier orders, like a legendary order that will give you consistent rewards, or an exotic tier order that can give you exotic tier rewards. And so
ja, aber was für ein Level? 1. Wahrscheinlich nicht mal 1.
Different little objectives that you can do. We already touched on bonus engrams a little bit and how we're going to be reworking even more with Renegades launches to feed into
Kann ich mir nicht vorstellen.
Look at all these things in the portal. I know if I go and gobble up all the green engrams, I'm accelerating on my power climb, and that's much easier and clearer for players to understand.
Ihr müsst die Waffen einfach an Level binden. Wenn ich 250 bin, droppe ich nur noch 3er. Wenn ich 300 bin, droppe ich nur noch 4er. Und wenn ich 400 bin, droppe ich nur noch 5er. Fertig.
We're going to be making it repeatable, but then there's going to be a weekly reward for them. There's no way for us on
das heißt, das ist gar nichts Neues. Das ist eigentlich das alte System, was wir schon mal hatten. Mit dem Pinnacle Gear. Spiel 3 Strikes, kriegst du ein Pinnacle Gear. Ist garantiert 2, 3, 4 Level drüber. Und hier ist dann auch 2, 3, 4 Level drüber und hat noch, was weiß ich, Level 2 als Waffe oder als Rüstung.
The other big thing too that we've been listening to feedback on and we're moving really fast on right now is getting weekly legacy raid and dungeon content as like a tunnel from the portal to that. So to set expectations here with Renegades, this is going to first come in the form of, hey, reasons to play this content, to do like weekly challenges and earn powerful rewards from them, right? Again, we want this weekly reset. We want you to clearly know when you log in, here's a bunch of stuff to look forward to play with your friends and others. The reason I have to set expectations, though, is like we hear the feedback about wanting the gear reprised from raids and dungeons. Dylan, if we could just like flip a switch and make that happen, I think we'd be more than happy to do that. But it's just not that simple. There's a bunch of work that goes into actually creating the new gear and the gear tiers. And so we are going to be looking to make the reward experience of Legacy and Raid dungeons better as time goes on. Our first focus is making it fit into that weekly reset and into that power climb.
Yeah. And we have our first step today with dungeon layers. In the portal, there are going to be three encounters coming from Legacy dungeon content. You can get power bumps from those. You can get portal gear from those, but we hear the feedback on general rewards.
Yes.
So,
yeah.
Ja.
We're gonna be
We
looking
hear the
to
feedback,
add
ja.
more to this, like what this weekly ritual feels like.
Ich höre
These
euch
are the
bald nicht
areas
mehr
we are
zu.
targeting initially here for Renegades.
All right. So let's move on to our final two subjects really are
Ich
centered
nicht.
around sandbox.
Yeah.
First of which is going to be build crafting, and then the second is around just
Also ja,
targeting approach
im
and
Prinzip,
balance.
sag mal, es ist, mir ist
So
es
we
eigentlich
have another
scheißegal,
list here of,
weil
honestly, we've been getting a ton of feedback around featured gear.
ich spiele das Spiel schon seit, wie gesagt, Destiny 1, Vanilla.
What are we saying?
Yeah,
Und
so, this whole
ich gucke auch
space is
immer
about
wieder mal rein,
expanding
aber
the
ich habe
media
auch
chase.
andere Interessen und
And
das
we
Spiel
have,
ist
we
für mich
hear
kein
that
zweiter
we hear that
Arbeitsplatz
featured gear is
oder
far too restrictive
ein
for how
Ort,
you're
an dem ich
using it
wirklich
right
jeden
now.
Abend
So
dann
one of the
sein
big
will
changes we're
und
making is
alles
all
Mögliche
exotic
rausgrinden,
weapons
nur
and
um
armor
halt
are
dann
gonna be featured gear
mal eine
starting
richtig
in
fette
Raid.
Waffe zu haben mit
So,
5,
class
Level
items,
5
your
und
prismatic
was weiß
build,
ich, super
back
Perks.
on the table. You don't
Dann
have to
ist es
worry
mir
about
ehrlich
it.
gesagt
You're not
scheißegal.
having
Da
to think
spiele
about
ich
what
einfach nur
exotic
wieder
you put on.
Story,
It's all about what build you wanna
mache ein
craft,
paar Dinge
right?
und das war's.
The
Und dann
other
können
thing
die
that
mich
we've
am
been
Arsch
listening to
lecken,
a
auf
lot
gut
when it
Deutsch
comes to the
gesagt, ja.
gear chase is
Weil
like,
bringt mir
hey,
nichts.
you might
Was soll
earn a
das?
tier 1, 2 or 3
Wenn ich ein Raid spiele und krieg dann
weapon, you know, a roll of a
nicht
weapon
mal
you
eine
really love, your
Einserwaffe,
personal god roll, or
garantiert,
Ninja
oder
saying
nicht?
this is a god roll.
Eine
And you're looking at that and
Viererwaffe.
you're like, man,
Von mir aus
it's
nicht die
cool, but
Fünfer,
like
okay?
it's not,
Aber eine
it's not that
Viererwaffe,
top tier, right? And
dann
so
spiele ich
in
das auch
Shadow and
nicht.
Order,
Für was?
which is our major update coming
Ich
after
komme gar nicht
Renegades,
so hoch,
you're
will ich
going
auch
to be
gar
able
nicht.
to
Ich kann gar nicht,
enhance
ich habe nicht die
the
Zeit,
tier
um
of
das
your
alles
legendary
rauszugrinden.
weapons all the way
Und
from
es
tier 1
wird
to tier
ganz
5
vielen
with
Leuten
new
genau
currency
so
and a
gehen.
new feature that we're building for those. Again, this is
More
all
Wall
about
Space. Na, endlich mal eine gute Sache.
Yeah. And before we get ahead of ourselves, like
Improved Sorting,
as a player,
Filtering. Ah,
and
das
I'm
ist auch
guessing
nicht
in
schlecht.
chat, people are saying,
Sunset
oh,
Feature
so I
Gear
should be
Score
keeping my tier 1,
Bonus.
tier 2, tier 3 weapons. Where am I going to put these? What's
Soll
going on with
das
vault space?
heißen?
Yeah, so with Renegades, we are going to give you more vault space. That is the thing we're going to be doing. And also, the team is working on a pretty big update to improve the sorting and filtering of just using your vault in game as well.
Yeah, we'll have many more details in the coming weeks and months when we get this roadmap together. But our final note in this section before we go to balance is the portal scoring.
Yes, yeah. So right now with the featured and new gear, there is just an intrinsic bonus that you get for wearing that gear. I guess it's extrinsic because we're asking you to put it on. But anyway, if you have it on, you get a score bonus in the portal, which means you're not only thinking about like activity customization,
Sagen nämlich hier die
but also now
Kommentare
you
bei
have to think
denen so.
about the score too, and like, should I wear this or not in order to chase the high score? And for the vast majority of the experiences in the portal, we think that's just too much complexity right now. And so we are sunsetting that idea.
Wo ist denn
So
hier
again,
jetzt
this
der
is going
also?
to drastically open up the space for you to basically use whatever you
Hier
want.
schreibt
the
keiner?
vast
Warum sehe ich den
majority
Chat
of
nicht?
things you play inside of the portal when you're chasing
Ah,
gear
jetzt.
and doing that power climb. Yeah.
And a North Star for this, when y'all were talking about it, we've had a ton of conversations with the dev
Ja,
team.
wir
It's
brauchen
like,
mehr als 100, da
there's a
habt
lot
ihr
of feeling
recht.
of I'm playing Destiny the wrong way, and this was contributing to it because I had to think, oh, if I put this armor on, it's wrong. This helps that out and gets you into the fun faster.
Yes,
So.
and then like we do believe and see a space for ways to highlight gear and exotics and things like that. You know, stuff we've done with the artifact for a while now. We want it to be part of the game because I think pushing people off of the super hot stuff is really healthy sometimes to just have more fun and experiment with things. But we know that we need to find ways to make this feel like a bonus and more excitement to do it versus what we currently have now, which is why we're making these changes.
Awesome. Yeah, and then our last section here for quality of life, let's talk about sandbox balance. Y'all have been really taking a lot of the feedback to heart since the announce of quite a few nerfs and some balancing, and you have some new approaches to philosophy when it comes to this.
Yeah, so at the top here, one of the things we're doing is we're upgrading our internal process for kind of how we evaluate our buff and nerf policies and also the timing of which when we go out and do those. And so a big part of that here through Renegade's launch is going to be non-critical balance changes are on pause right now. And so
I
this
like
is
turtles.
partially in reaction to obviously some
What
of the
the fuck?
sentiment around some of the changes we're making, but it's giving time for us to make sure that when we do start to do more.
Ja, weiß nicht, sieht auch nicht so.
we communicate honestly. We just need to do a better job about communicating about why we're changing something and some of the intent behind it.
Ja, weil ihr es
And the
wollt.
reason I speak about this,
Darum macht das. Und ihr
'cause you
denkt, das
asked me
ist
this a
gut.
couple times in our rehearsal, Dylan, it's like, what does non-critical mean? Sorry, taking your word.
Darum macht das. Warum sollten die das sonst machen? Das sind ja nicht jetzt, dass die ihr
We
Spiel
really want to
da
make sure that we're still
kaputt
making
machen
balance
wollen.
changes, or if we have to ban something for that
Destiny
epic
Create
rating
Again.
or
Ach
conversion
du
rate
Scheiße.
with Renegades, right? The quality of that experience is
Mann.
incredibly important to us, and we know it's incredibly important to y'all. And so, again, we're putting a pause on nerfs and balance changes for now, but if we really need to change something because it's critical for those upcoming events, we'll make changes.
Ja, it's critical. Das war der richtige Ausdruck. Es ist kritisch gerade bei Bungie. Meine Fresse, ja, ich weiß nicht. Ich weiß auch nicht. Also ja, es sieht gut aus. Das muss man sagen. Star Wars kickt und Star Wars sellt auch genug Kopien. Also die werden das verkaufen wie nix wahrscheinlich. Zumindest mal hoffe ich das auch ein bisschen für die, damit die weiter bestehen können, weil ich glaube, so langsam geht ihnen echt der Arsch auf Grundeis. Aber das Leveln, das, was die da jetzt gerade ansprechen, das wird das Level nicht signifikant besser machen. Also, das ist schon immer noch grindig. Und da sind schon, glaube ich, viele Spiele abgesprungen, gerade diese Season jetzt. Und das jetzt besser wird, mal gespannt. Ich will mich jetzt nicht festlegen, dass das ein Totalausfall wird wieder, aber also viele werden das einfach nicht mehr machen, weil sie einfach keinen Bock drauf haben. Und wenn man für einen Raid und Dungeon-Abschluss nicht mal eine 5er-Waffe und 5er-Rüstung kriegt, garantiert, dann ist Arschlecken angesagt, sage ich ganz ehrlich, weil es gibt so viele Spiele, es gibt so viele gute Spiele, die rauskommen. Da gehen die gnadenlos einfach da runter. Zwischen den ganzen anderen. Leute werden sich umgucken, andere Sachen spielen, andere Sachen probieren, damit Spaß haben und dann spielen die das eben nicht mehr.
Thank you again to everybody that's been giving us feedback. Thank you to everybody that's been playing and diving into all the changes. We know some need work and we're going to be doing that. We've been listening and now we're getting through the planning.
Ja, das sagen die immer, das ist der typische Marketing-Floskel. Dann können sie so langsam auch mal irgendwo hinten reinschieben, aber ansonsten... Ja, ich glaube schon, die schaffen schon alle, was sie können da. Sie sind stets bemüht. Siva! War doch gerade Siva. Das ist im Siva-Gebiet. Willst du mich verarschen? Das ist tatsächlich im Siva-Gebiet, Alter. Das glaube ich jetzt gar nicht. Die haben gesagt, sie bringen es nicht wieder. Ja. Dungeon Layers. Bam. Das Gunplay ist halt schon geil. Immer noch. Das ist schon klar. Und was war denn da mit dem Siva jetzt? Es ist doch... Sag mal, das war doch... Das ist auf jeden Fall im Siva-Gebiet aus Destiny 1. Das haben die jetzt einfach reingepatcht. Im Kosmodrom. Interessant. Huckleberry Drang? Wow, ja, die machen mal viel mit Walker. Haben sich von Schwermetall abgedrückt. Ach, guck mal da, die eiserne Lordsaxt ist wieder da, ein bisschen abgegradet. Ja, Siva-Gebiet einfach neu aufgelegt. Okay, ja.
Alright, welcome back. In about 20 minutes, the content from that trailer is going live. Let's talk about Ash and Iron. We have a bunch of really cool stuff coming with a new activity called Reclaim. We have a new introductory activity that's going to be giving you some insight into the narrative. We also have an exotic mission coming in October. Team's finishing up on that, and we're super excited for the weapon that's
okay, das ist guter Content. Exotic Missions sind immer guter Content.
Updates to recurring events like Iron Banner.
Und die wird wahrscheinlich im Raid-Gebiet stattfinden. Tippe ich mal jetzt einfach drauf.
Hello, welcome to our couch, wonderful developers. Some of you have been here before, but Noah, first on the couch. This is
Ja,
your
wollte
first
gerade
time.
sagen, den kriege ich noch nicht.
No, I'm super happy to be here.
Yeah, welcome. For folks to learn who you are.
Yeah.
Who are you? What do you do? What's your title?
Yeah, my name's Noah Pearson. I'm an associate sandbox designer here at Bungie. While my title is like officially working on the armor team, I do work in exotic armor from time to time, but you find me more commonly working on the seasonal artifacts, so like the one for Heresy, the current one for Season of Reclamation. Both those are mine. But I've also
Das ist also der Buff-Typ, der die Buffs da reinballert in die
Next
Artefakte.
on the couch, Jerome. Welcome back.
Thank you very much.
Jerome.
Yeah, really quick. Let's get a summary. Who are you?
Geronimo.
I'm Jerome. I'm a narrative lead, so we do the lore, we do the dialogue, we do the cutscenes, and we plan the overall story for Destiny 2.
Awesome.
Ist ja ein stylischer Bart.
Clayton, welcome back. I believe you were last here.
Der kann echt Lore machen, der ist ja schon Geschichte mit dem Bart.
Yep.
Yeah, for folks that may have missed out on those streams, who are you? What do you do?
Yeah, so I'm a design lead here for the activities and events area.
Clayton
on
Kiska.
Destiny 2, and in the past, I've been activity designer or feature owner for activities like Onslaught or Coil or Seraph Shield. So it's been really fun getting my hands dirty in different types of activities and bringing those experiences to the players.
Awesome. Thank you so much. So as we're diving through some stuff, we
Kommt die
already have
Schmiede
gameplay
wieder?
rolling. This is our new activity, Reclaim. But Jerome, let's talk about narrative. How are things kicking off?
For sure. Well, Maya Sundaresh, the conductor, has somewhat overextended herself on Kepler during the events of Edge of Fate. And she foolishly tried to meddle in the affairs of the Nine. And,
Das Allerwichtigste ist jetzt erstmal zu wissen, ob Siva wieder da ist.
Of Earth.
3 being a single entity, right?
Yes, exactly. And that's going to have huge knock-on effects for the people of Earth in physics and chemistry, and we'll hear a lot more about that in Renegades. But for now,
Carlos Mini-Werkzeugermittler am Multitool
Maya
ist
is
wieder da,
somewhat
okay.
depleted, right? And she is starting to lose control over her collective. She's starting to bleed individuals at the edges of her collective, and those are the pants-wearing, poker-playing Vex that you saw.
Crime. Yeah, yeah.
Exactly, exactly. And so she needs to reassert control over her collective. And in order to do that, she needs a signal boost to maximize the power of her waning echo of command. And the best tool for that job is, of course, Golden Age tech. And the best place to find Golden Age tech is in the Vanguard Vault, which is why Ash and Iron begins with a defense of the tower from a smash and grab by Maya's forces, both Vex and conscripted Cabal, which you'll learn more about during the season. But that's going to be a start, but
ist
not
interessant.
sufficient for her plans. So she will
Das
need a
ist
fully
wie
functional
damals
Warset network to really
bei dem
expand
Spielmodus
her
mit dem
reach. And there's only one place
Riven-Drachen,
where you can find that, and
dem
that's
Geist von Riven,
where most of Ash
man
and Iron's
verschiedene
So speaking of the smash and grab, when
Upgrades
players first
pickt
sign in for Ash
nach den einzelnen Runden.
a node that they can launch for the introductory mission. It's
Das
not
war
auto.
eigentlich ein
You're
sehr
gonna,
cooler
select it, jump in
Spielmodus.
when you're ready. But after that, you'll hop into Reclaim. Those are going to be some new activities. And Clayton, let's get a quick overview. What are players seeing on the screen?
Yeah, so Reclaim is our new 3-player activity. It comes with 3 different variants. It has players, like Jerome was saying, going into the Plaguelands, stopping Maya's forces from taking Golden Age tech and reclaiming those areas, those territories. And so you notice that there's a lack of Fallen, but we, through our like ambient combatants and our environmental storytelling, you'll know a little bit more about what has happened there, how Maya's come in and pushed them all out. You'll see some of them trying to fight back to get in because they think that's their land, right? And as a player, you're trying to go in there and play in a similar way that you might find like Overthrow, where we took a lot of inspiration from. So you get to choose how you want to fill that progress bar. Do you want to finish a bunch of encounters that are randomly generated, which adds to a bunch of replayability? You can progress by finding hidden chests or defeating roaming high-value targets. There's collectibles in there as well, all without like a timer, so you and your fire team can strategize.
Kleinen Bunker Trigger. Also es
And
ist,
then once you've completed
ja.
the area, unlike Overthrow, you move to the next area by way of ship that you'll see on the screen a little bit.
Stellar.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was talking to our gameplay folks before this launched, and we talked a bit about there's a bit of like nether DNA in here, where you have your main objectives, and then you can find things throughout the area as well.
Thanks for reminding me. Yeah, we have Vivian went ham and gave us these like quite frankly unbalanced buffs that will have a rare chance of spawning, and you get to choose which one. One example is that if you choose it, you'll just be radiant and what is the other? Radiant and amplified. Thank you. Yeah, just the whole time. So, yeah, have fun choosing between these crazy buffs and using them to finish the activity.
Awesome. And when we're talking about collectibles, there's going to be some lore collectibles too, correct?
Absolutely. We're continuing the pass forward from the previous expansion, and those lore drops will tell players a lot about what to expect in Renegades, both in the cast and the themes. Though it's not explicit, so they'll have to use a little detective work, we hope, but it will give a lot of information about what's to come.
Got it. So these are going to be like the
Das Schiff ist einfach nur ein Spawner und spawn ich dann im nächsten.
Yeah, so I mean, let's talk about
Du fährst nicht mal über die Karte. Ist die Karte denn überhaupt begehbar oder ist das quasi nur
First up, let's talk about the exotic that's going to be in the rewards pass for Ashen Iron.
über diese Mission erreichbar?
Yeah, so Noon Malpais is going to be our reward pass.
So ein Startgebiet von Plaguelands.
Obviously with
Ja,
The Edge of Fate, we
man
released
musste ja
a
eigentlich noch,
Frame Pulse Rifle, Mint Retrograde.
wo der
that
Riesenservitor
people
ist im
have really
Hintergrund schon mal
taken
zu
to
sehen,
liking
aber
more. And we kind of took a look at
dahin
that, and
kann,
we're like, well, what's
da
the
ist
cool
schon
way
mal
to
zu,
one-up that
ne?
and, like, plus one it
Da
for
ist ein
exotic?
Gitter, ein Wechsgitter.
So you may notice from the gameplay that this
Oder?
rocket pulse doesn't just shoot like the
Das
micro
ist ein
rockets.
Würfel.
It shoots sticky bombs, and these will stick onto the environment. They'll stick onto enemies,
Good.
and when you hold down your special reload button, they'll pop like little firecrackers. And it's really fun to just sort of like spray them out across like a group of guys, and then you like turn around, walk away from them, and click the button, and have them like pop all behind you, because cool Guardians don't look at explosions.
So this may say a
Good.
lot about me as a person, but you can also stick these to your teammates, right?
I guess you'll have to see.
All right. Okay, so let's talk about the next exotic. This is going to be tied to an exotic mission that's coming out in October, and I can already see you kind of getting excited, like Vivian was excited for the crossbows that we added. Let's talk about the Iron Axe.
Yeah, you kept me waiting, huh?
Ach, das wird ein
So
Exotic?
the exotic mission, you know, way back with Rise of
Ja,
Iron,
dann ist die
like, as a
100%
player, I
im
remember, like,
Raid, würde ich sagen.
ahead of it, of, like,
Gehen wir rein in den Servitor, wo die 3 Eisern Lords da waren, zumindest mal so irgendwie, und nicht im Raid, im Story-Missionsding. Und das sind ja eins, die Eisernen Lords.
I want that axe.
When's my turn?
Like, I want that
Yeah.
thing. So when I heard that we were going to be doing a little Return to the Plaguelands, it was like, I'm going to twist whatever arms necessary to finally get
das
the
ist schon
thing that I
geil.
know I want and I've seen other people want for ages. So yeah, I can confirm that's no relic. That's our new exotic weapon.
Quicksilver Nanites, also
and,
da ein
I
bisschen
think for
Silber.
Clayton and Jerome, since this exotic mission, the team is finishing up the touches and really building this experience. It'll be
Was
launching in
ist das denn für ein
October. So let's
Panzer?
just give a quick preview, no spoilers,
Kabalpanzer?
spoilers about what's the premise.
Yeah, as I mentioned earlier,
Was macht denn ein
Maya wants to expand her
Kabalpanzer hier
reach, and the
bei
best way to do that
Vex?
is like the same way you would with the Wi-Fi in your house. You need expanders, you need routers, right, to boost that signal. And so she is going to be looking to get her hands on Warsat technology, which is why we'll be working with Saint 14 and Anna Bray throughout the season. Saint 14 is sort of our tactical
Die verändert die
expert, and then
aussehen ganz schön, die
Anna,
Axt.
as with her association to Rasputin, having all the subject matter expertise on Warsats.
Awesome.
And not to get too deep into spoilers, but you will be
Da
working
schwebt
with
so eine Hydra,
three
ist das dann
of
quasi der
Fireball's,
Boss. Wenn man das jetzt
cyber
erreicht hat, die 1000,
specialists.
hat man einen kleinen Bosskampf. Oder
I
wie?
can't wait. Yeah, October can't come soon enough. So let's come back to day one. I keep checking my watch here. 10 minutes, 11 minutes until launch. We also have a slate of legendary weapons that are going to be coming out. We have some armor sets in the portal that are going to have brand new armor set bonuses, but we also have brand new weapons.
Yeah.
And I know a couple of these things are kind of complementary to exotics.
Yeah. So with Ashen Iron, we as Sandbox were like taking a look at some exotics we wanted to bring up, and we talked about Mida and Sturm getting some updates to bring them up to that modern parity. But like when those weapons came out during year one, they came with their paired weapons, and like during that time, you know, it made sense, you know, like have two primaries. That was what the game was. So when we were taking a look at like bringing them up to modern Sandbox standards, we were like, well, we should probably hit it for the paired weapons as well too. So we took a look at some of our other special archetypes, and we're like, what could we set up for this? So with this release. We've talked about them, I believe, in the TWID, but we are going to have a rocket frame Drang Unfall and a new like lightweight Mida macro tool shotgun. And both of them have perk pools that kind of key off of being those paired weapons.
Mida macro
tool
tool.
has Discord and Trench Barrel. It was really fun to like run that with Mida. Because then you have like, you pop a couple guys to get those like attachments onto Mida, and then you switch and you have Discord proc, and you like slap a guy, and then you just are able to like pump into a bunch of dudes. And it's got the really cool draw animation from Wastelander back during 30th anniversary, so you get that cool like cowboy draw. And it's so fun to run around.
And the sidearm is arc, correct?
It is our second arc rocket frame sidearm. It's got a pretty big mag size, so instead of
Sieht aus wie
shot on this
Drang.
one, it has jolting feedback.
Das ist eine Mischung aus Sturm
Fun
und
to plug a
Drang,
couple
ehrlich
rockets
gesagt.
into a guy and have them jolted, and then
Unfall.
pop them with like a really powerful Sturm shot.
Awesome. Yeah, and these are going to be
Einfach
added
der
through the
Unfall,
portal.
ja.
Reclaim is going to be living in the portal in the fire team area, and that's
Und die haben natürlich alles
We
4er-Waffen.
also have Crucible Officer,
450, wenn ich das schon sehe.
the shotgun, and
Boah.
a couple other things as well that you'll discover.
300er-Waffen, ja.
So let's move on. Our last conversation, or our last topic of the day, is going to be around events, our recurring events. And the first thing that kicks off is actually a new one to celebrate Reclaim. And Clayton, what are we going to be doing today?
Yeah, we're launching with New Territories Reclaim. It's a new standard event that will highlight a new activity. And so we do that with our daily challenges, weekly challenges, or it's for a week, so one weekly challenge, and then it has its own reward track and an event home that you can launch the activity from as well.
Awesome. And then I believe it's next week, we also have Iron Banner coming back.
That's right.
So is that also going to have an event home?
Yes, it'll have event home, same slew of things where daily challenges, a weekly challenge. You'll have your reward track. We have a hand cannon coming in there. We have an armor set, and you'll have your title and your triumphs as well.
Yeah, I believe we redacted the new set bonuses for Iron Banner, but I've heard they're actually quite fun.
Yeah, pretty cool. Might want to hold on to it when you get your hands on that axe.
Awesome. And then the third event that's going to be coming is Arms Week, Noah. Coming back, the first one was all centered around, let's look at hand cannons. We had the new shotgun style hand cannon.
Yeah.
And then with this one, it's going to be shotguns.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're taking a look at shotguns this time around. So much like during the prior
Würde
Arms
mich
Week,
jetzt wirklich mehr
we'll also
interessieren,
have a cool slate of shotgun mods.
ob man einfach in den Playlands so rumfahren kann als Patrouillengebiet oder ob das wirklich nur dann über diese Aktivität die einzelnen Bereiche sind.
And I was talking about like old rapid fire frame shotguns when they had like the really fast rate of fire, and I was like, I mean, what if all shotguns shot like that? And he like paused for a minute, and then I got the message, what if they're all just fourth horsemen?
Oh, Bjorn, you mad scientist.
It is really entertaining to take a slug shotgun and have it shoot that fast.
Yeah, and we saw a lot of celebration with these volatile mods for hand cannons during that week. So with shotguns, we have the one that's effectively going to be fourth horseman everywhere.
Yeah.
But we have a couple more too,
Yeah.
and we'll leave that for players to discover
It's going
soon.
to be super awesome.
Next up on the slate, we have Festival Lost is going to be coming back during Ash and Iron, and we have a preview of our armor sets. So these are armor ornament sets. Y'all voted on these earlier in the year last year, and we had to show them. They look awesome.
Yeah.
I cannot wait to have those roses on my
The
shoulders.
Warlock.
But with Festival Lost, we have some new activity content, correct?
That's right. The Headless Ones have broken out of Haunted Lost Sector jail. Because of that, we have new activities. So we have a new PvE 6-player activity called Haunted Altars. And then we have a new PvP activity called Red Rumble. Hocus Focusing is coming back. It's going to be a 2-week-long activity. We have 2 new weapons, Inner Pie's weapon. You'll have your reward track, event home, the whole shebang. I'm very excited. It is very fun to play in those activities.
Awesome.
So it's chaos. Just all chaos.
And then the last on our list, so Jerome, we have a new event called Call to Arms that's going to be coming at the end of Ash and Iron. Can you give us a quick overview?
Sure. We're going to be
Arms.
working with Devrim K, who has been holding down the EDZ for the better part of a decade without a ghost, right? Doing it all in one life. And he'll be taking some much-deserved R&R in the tower and being our liaison to the foundries. We have to remember that most of the guns that the Guardian fires are designed and produced in the last city. Of course, we know that they're actually designed and produced here with the sandbox team.
What do you mean? Cassoid's in-house.
That's right, Mr. Cassoid, right here. So we will be working with Devrim to stress test the latest and greatest in gear from the foundries and the Guardians that can push their gear the furthest. and get the most out of it will reap the greatest reward. So there's a competitive aspect to it as well.
Awesome. Yeah, I mean, when we're talking about this competitive aspect, the Call to Arms is going to be a ton of rewards, legendaries, some cosmetics for anyone to earn, but then we have kind of some cosmetics at the top for our hardcore, so to speak, to really earn. And Clayton, I think you were talking about a helmet?
Yeah, we have a helmet ornament. It is fantastic looking. When you equip it, if you're in that top earner, you will have this like tail of flames coming from you. And much like the trial glows, these flames signify that you are a top competitor in this.
So when I load into the tower, I'm going to see this guy with a giant fiery mohawk. I'm going to know, okay, they were top of Call to Arms.
Impressed and scared at the same time.
But then we have some cosmetics, like I said, for just general players too.
Gab's in Destiny 1 schon. Mit den Grenzen auf dem Kopf, den Großmeister geschafft hat.
We have daily login rewards as well, and we have vouchers that will actually help.
Ein bisschen was zum Flexen. Warum nicht?
Awesome. Yeah, well, thanks for the quick overview. We will definitely have more information in the Twit about this new event. And as we're going through, Ash and Iron will have an update before each of these events to give you a quick a recap of what we've been talking about today. So just to end it up as well, we have a brand new crossbow that's going to be coming in. So our first crossbow was introduced through raids. And this one is going to be through our events. To start, it's going to be a low drop chance from any of the events that we just covered. And then in Call to Arms, you can focus this thing to really hammer on getting those rolls. And Noah, what's the damage type on this?
Yeah, so you might have seen it in the gameplay. It's going to be a stasis crossbow. And obviously, with a stasis weapon comes stasis perks. And I'm very happy to say that it does have chill clip, and it in fact does freeze in 2 shots. And oh my god, there's such like a fun play pattern of like you pop a guy twice with it, they freeze, and then if you have serrated bolts, you run up and you pull them out of him, and the serrated bolts do damage and cause him to pop. So you just like put him in a major, and you cause him to explode and hit all the dudes around him. And it was an oddly fun play pattern of just running around and blasting people that I got quite a few giggles out of in playtests.
I can't wait. So again, to say it, today with our New Territories event, you can get this to drop. It will be a low drop chance, but over the course of the rest of the season with each event, more chances, and then Call to Arms, you can focus it along with other gear and really go hard for the role.
Very low chance.
And a Hull foil and Call to Arms as well.
Gerade vor der Nase.
That brings us to the end of our show.
Okay.
So, thank you all for joining us on the couch.
Interessant, es war auf jeden Fall ein interessanter Stream. Renegades, klar, ist irgendwie ein No-Brainer. Also Star Wars wird sich verkaufen, auf jeden Fall. Davon gehe ich aus. Das reichen wird. Ich fange so langsam echt an zu zweifeln, was die da noch so machen. Aber denen geht der Arsch auf Grundeis, sage ich euch. Denen geht der Arsch auf Grundeis. Aber ich glaube nicht, dass langfristige Spieler damit noch viel Spaß haben. Jetzt mit dem Age of Iron. Vielleicht mit Renegades wieder, ja, aber Age of Iron wird das Ganze jetzt nicht rausreißen. Tja. Danke fürs Zusehen. Sage ich schon mal. Das war Destiny Renegades plus Age of Iron Stream vom 9.9.25. Mal gespannt, was uns da noch so erwartet. Ich bin schon ein bisschen traurig eigentlich, wie sich das Ganze hier so entwickelt hat. Ich finde immer noch, die sollten einfach mal wieder ein neues Destiny machen. 3 Jahre einfach ein neues Start, weil diese ganzen Systeme, ja, ist ja gut hier. Alle aus, danke. Oh Gottes Willen, echt. Aber es ist halt auch schwierig, ne? So lange ein Spiel am Laufen zu halten ist auch nicht einfach. Das muss man erstmal nachmachen. 11 Jahre hat er ja vorhin gesagt. Aber ich muss ganz ehrlich sagen, es ist halt auch einfach im Endeffekt scheißegal. Die Leute kaufen das, was ihnen Spaß macht. Und wenn das Spiel irgendwann die Leute nicht mehr erreicht, so wie früher, dann ist es halt so. Ne? Dann ist der Drops gelutscht, sozusagen. Und dann geht es halt weiter mit irgendwas anderem. Die Leute werden immer das spielen, was sie halt wollen und nicht, was der Entwickler will. Das ist einfach Fakt. Da kann niemand was dran ändern. Und ich merke es ja an mir selber. Ich habe jetzt 10 Jahre lang immer Raids, Dungeons und den letzten Raid jetzt, der rauskam, den habe ich nicht mal mehr angefasst. Da war er noch gar nicht drin. weil mir das einfach keinen Spaß mehr gemacht hat. Und ich denke, es geht auch einfach vielen Leuten so, die eine gewisse Zeit spielen, die haben dann einfach irgendwann sich die Spiele auch satt gespielt oder tot gespielt oder einfach, ja, die stumpfen ab, ich stumpf ab und dann brauche ich halt andere Sachen. Oder das heißt, ich brauche, aber ich will einfach wieder Spaß haben am Spiel und dann spiele ich andere Spiele. Und wenn der Grind jetzt, was die hier angesprochen haben, wie gesagt, da glaube ich nicht dran, dass das den Grind signifikant verbessert in Renegades und vorher bei Age of Iron schon gar nicht, ja. Also da werden ganz viele wieder abspringen, denke ich mal. Destiny ist Temu Borderlands, alles klar.
I'm just like, listen, people in PvP, they move a little bit
Ja,
different than
gut,
the
jetzt haben sie
PvE
hier,
enemies do. That's all I'm saying.
sind sie auf dem anderen drauf geradet. Gut, dann würde ich mal sagen, ich beende das Ganze hier. Ich bedanke mich nochmal fürs Zuschauen und ja, schreibt mir mal eure Kommentare hier. Schreibt ihr mal in die Kommentare hier drunter, was ihr so davon haltet vielleicht. Ob ihr euch das kaufen werdet, Renegades, oder nicht. Und ja, ansonsten wünsche ich noch einen schönen Tag, schönen Abend. Macht's gut. Ciao.